It's been a little over a year since I did the videos on the Fortnite figures I picked up from China. I want to show you a few things in a package that I recently got from that direction. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Bao Bros. Look at this, all four of them. And the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the baggie of accessories that I have. There's the Bao Basket back bling. Look at that thing. And then we have this back bling. I might say it wrong, but I think it's the Kunai shield. Let me know in the comments below if I got this right or wrong. But that's pretty cool. Flip this around. You can see that's where it plugs into the figure. Then we have the souped up harvesting tool right there, and this left hand is covering a golden bell. It doesn't really ring, but that's what it is. And then the dual harvesting tools of fork and knife, and I believe we've seen this before with the Dyer Turbo Builder set, and this is kind of appropriate. I mean, they are food related, so fork and knife, you eat food with a fork and knife, correct? As for the pews, we have a sniper rifle, a pump shotgun, a scoped assault rifle, and the last accessory is a heavy shotgun. I tend to think that these four figures will be a squad mode at some point in the future because look, there's four of them, there are two back blings, and there are two harvesting tools, and there are four pews. We begin with Veggie Bro, and just look at this figure. He's got some really cool details on. Over here on his left side, you've got this bag. This might be like a bladder of some sort that's containing liquid. You've got this rolling pin here. Maybe I shouldn't use my knife, but it's a little bit bendable rubber, if you see that there. You can see a spatula here, and you've got what I think might be some leeks here, which is like a vegetable. Some jars, some containers, possibly like spice containers over there. His head rotates back and forth just fine. If you want his head to go up and down, well, that's a little bit limiting just because of the style of the head, and that really can't be helped based off of how this character is designed. He's got all the standard articulation of a Jazwares action figure. I mean, come on, look at this. Look at this detail. Look at this stuff that they've got on here. But you got the thigh rotations, you got double pin at the knees, a hinge rotation and pivot at the ankle, and the shoulders lift up and rotate all the way around, and the elbows have a hinge and rotation as well as a hinge and rotation at the wrist. So he's got all the standard articulation. If you want him to do the splits, he can go up about this far. The right side is really good, but the left side is hindered by this bag over here. And if you want him to sit, well, unfortunately, the apron does not allow for proper sitting. In fact, if you want this figure to be in a vehicle, it might not work out very well. But yeah, this may not be my favorite of the Bao Bros, but you have to admit, these guys look cool. Next, we have the Shrimp Bro, and he looks quite a bit different, except for his legs do look very similar. In fact, all the legs on all of these figures are the same. They're just repainted to match their colors. Again, on the left side, he's got this bag that's probably full of liquid. He's got a spatula there, a knife hanging out, a couple more spice style jars. Except on this figure on the right side, you've got a rolling pin, again, kind of with the weaker rubber ends there. But the detail, he looks like he's got candy canes over his arms there. This figure has a bit of a bandana tail. Well, it's not really a bandana. It's the ribbon that wraps and holds his, I don't even know, this dumpling head together. And so it kind of comes down as a bit like a bandana. He's got the same articulation. If you want him to do the splits, well, unfortunately, this is about all you get. This is your splits right here, just because this apron is sealed over here. There's no cut by Jazwares. If you want him to sit in the vehicle, unfortunately, that's about as far as you can get the figure to go. His head rotates back and forth quite well, very nicely. And if you want him to look down, he can look down about that far. Sorry, I made a weird noise. And if you want to look up, unfortunately, at least this is as far as I can get this figure to look up. So he doesn't really look up and down. He looks up and down better than Veggie does, we'll say that. But the rotation is there, and that's really one of the big things. Otherwise, he's got all the same points of articulation, rotation at the thighs, and hinges at the elbow, the wrist, the ankle, and the knee. So everything you've come to expect from Jazwares. I like the yellow. I think this one looks pretty nice, pretty good. Now we got Beef Bro, and the one thing that stands out about this figure or character to me is the frying pan on his head. I love this hat. I think this one's really cool, how he's just got this pan with the handle sticking out. The handle is a little bit tougher than these rolling pin ends, but I still predict that this could be a fragile point right there, but he looks so good. He looks really awesome. I like the blue color on this figure anyway. And so instead of a pouch, he's got a slab of meat, like a big steak right here on the left side. He's got a little spatula kind of hiding under it there. Looks like a meat cleaver right there, some carrots, again, some spice jars, and on the right side, he's got this rolling pin with the kind of the soft ends there. If you want him to do the splits, well, that's about what you're going to get. If you want him to sit in like the whiplash, well, good luck. It's probably not going to happen. We're going to need to keep this guy mostly in a standing position because that apron, again, there's no cuts on the side, so that apron just does not allow for awesome articulation. I'm going to bring him a little bit closer. I want to point out something that I think is really pretty neat, if you can see it. This strap right here, as well as the little bits around his, was this a gi maybe? I don't know, but this area has some really cool like metallic blue painting right there, and I think it's just really awesome. You're gonna get the benefit in person to see how good that looks, but it's really cool that metallic blue, light blue, it's really cool. I like it. This guy's pretty nice. Blue, it tends to be my favorite color anyway, so if something's in some sort of shade of blue, I tend to like it just a little bit more. Although, yeah, oh, what I didn't show you was he can rotate his head back and forth just fine, and I think he may, let's see, he can look down, not too bad, and he can even look up just a little bit. It's about the same as Shrimp, so... but he has all the standard articulation of a Jazwares Fortnite figure. And finally, we come to Pork Bro, and this may be the iconic version of all of them. This is kind of like the default style, so in-game, when you see the Bao Bro in the shop or in your locker, this is kind of the predominant skin. So this is kind of the one, in my opinion, that jumps out and like represents the Bao Bros. And of course, I left him for last. Head rotates back and forth quite well. He looks down, actually the best of all of them, and he looks up, I think, the best of all of them. Even though he is limited by this head, I think it works better. So he has some sort of a pouch as well, probably liquid bearing pouch. It's got a spatula, and on the right side he's got a different style of spice jars. They're kind of hanging sideways as opposed to up and down like some of the others. Again, standard articulation. It's mostly about the detail. I mean, look at this figure. They had a lot of fun, I think, making these figures. There is some detail. There are all these little nooks and crannies of really cool things. These figures, they just look good. If you want them to do the splits, unfortunately, the apron does not allow much more than that. And again, if you want him to sit like in a whiplash, well, unfortunately, he's not going to. But, you know, it's a very fine line of playability and articulation and a mixture of both. But I think he looks really good and is just pretty awesome. Here we have a final, really early look at the Bao Bros, let's just say 4-pack, maybe a squad mode, it seems logical. Again, I want to point out that these are not currently available to buy, and I don't know when they will be. I got these 4 from across the ocean. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. Come back tomorrow for another early figure reveal video about another figure that I got from overseas. In the meantime, if you haven't already, check out this video to the right that shows off all the figures that have been released between 2018 and 2022.